Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prophetic Podcast. I am your host, Drew. Hi. Bree is here today with me.
Hey y'all, how's it going?
We got special guests. You've seen them on TikTok.
Yeah.
They do real estate and shit. Yeah.
Oh.
They're a power couple. I've known her since we were, for a long 10 years. Give me some of that.
Yeah.
They do a lot. I'm so happy to have them here at the LeBlanc's. Everyone, say hello.
Hello.
Hey, introduce yourselves. I tried to do a good job.
Yeah, no, you did a fantastic job. So I'm Thalia LeBlanc. I get the LeBlanc for my husband.
and I'm Kendrick. I'm Thalia's husband.
There you go. What's up, man? I see they pin us against each other today.
Oh, it's all good.
It's all good.
It's always like that.
Yeah. Well, how are y'all? How was your drive in?
You know, it's actually pretty smooth. It's
Saturday
early, so
morning,
you know.
Huh?
Early bird gets the worm.
You were asking me before we came in, like, how we enjoyed the weekend a lot, because Monday used to suck. So this Saturday morning drive is perfect. So
Yeah.
Yes.
well, introduce yourselves to our audience so they can know who you are a little bit, and then we'll get into it.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm Thalia, and I do social media. Also do a lot of what all do I do?
She does everything.
Too much.
Give you another one. There.
That's the biggest flex. What all do I do?
This happens whenever you're
Okay, I see what she's doing.
multi-passionate creative. This sucks. Like sometimes you don't even know what all you do.
For those of you who don't know, that's a light flex. But if you run it down real quick, what you guys do, just a quick one.
Yeah, so we do, on top of content creation, we do real estate, and we also have our own podcast called Telling on Myself.
Hey, okay.
Yeah.
We're coming by soon.
Y'all sure are.
Yeah, we have to.
Absolutely. Yeah, so we dabble in all those creative spaces / real estate spaces.
I feel for you, buddy.
Yeah.
And so you guys work as a team, right? It's like a team thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see you guys working as a team a lot. So that brings into a quick icebreaker.
Okay.
Marriage is fun. It's long and drawn out and beautiful. And
It's
all
not
that.
long and drawn out.
Beautiful. And it looks like it's a fun thing. But here's a question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
Of the two of you, who's the cleanest?
Oh, I think definitely the person that likes like a clean space like the most is gonna be him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ironic, huh?
My man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, when you walk in the house, whose underwear do you see on the floor first?
You know what, though? I feel like multi-passionate, right? Multi-passionate people, we're not so organized all the time.
No.
You see what they do
Because
right now.
our
They're linking
brains, we just do everything
Yeah.
so much. So I am the same way. And I would like to break the stigma that women have to be organized.
Okay.
It's not always natural.
It has to get to like a point, and then like when it gets to a point, I'm like, oh, I'm going crazy, and then I
We're-
like
Yeah.
then I go
We're just
and I
here now.
cringe
That's
to
what you
clean.
know.
Exactly.
No more to say in this conversation. It's over. Okay, cool. So let's get back to get to how we all met. I originally met you because I worked under your dad, shadowing at his clinic. Rest in peace to your father.
Yes,
Super cool
thank you.
dude. When I was a pre-med student, he was my mentor.
Yeah.
And he was also ironically, I didn't know he was the sponsor of our soccer team.
Yes.
That was so random. I was like,
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like I remember going to y'all's house in Rowlett and playing pool with him, and he was like, you should be a doctor. I was like, I don't know if I really want to be. Like, I kind of just want to be a nurse. He was like,
Yeah.
no, you should be a doctor. And he was dead. He's like, you're going to come to my clinic and work with me. I was like, okay, I don't even know who this dude is, but all right. And then from then on, he was always just like the dude I knew that was cool. Like, I would see him around town. Like,
Yeah.
I remember a short story of seeing him at the bank one day, and he had like 1 million roses in this convertible. Remember that old car he had?
Yes.
And so I was like, yo, what are you doing? And he was like, oh man, I'm just getting some stuff for my wife. I was like,
Yes.
okay, cool. I was like, who's? That's my mentor. That's just what he does. He's just driving around with like 1,000 roses in the car. I was like, all right. Like,
Yeah.
So I just always knew him as just like a happy-go-lucky, helpful guy. And so
Yeah.
that's what I've always known for you to be too as well. So
Oh, I appreciate that.
yeah, but how do you guys know each other?
So we met through the Connect.
The Connect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's this group here in Dallas called the Connect. Wonderful group. If you're ever in Dallas, check them out. But
Absolutely.
we both worked under Taylor, who may be on the pod soon.
She
but
should come on down.
yeah.
Yes.
We both worked with Taylor, and that's how we met.
Yeah. I think that first team, I don't know if it was it a I think it was like a Valentine's Day event, or maybe it was before that.
Yeah, I do remember the Valentine's Day specifically, the singles mixer,
Yes.
where your husband had to pretend he's single.
What the hell you doing?
Man, shout out to Taylor. What she tried to have me doing. Taylor tried to throw me out there to the wolves, man.
It was like, but you know
At the
what?
singles event?
Pretend to be single, and I want you to go flirt
Don't
with
you-
everybody in this.
And what you do, don't you? You pretend like you don't know anything. That's what you're supposed to do.
Well, it was
I lost
funny
it.
because it was like so many women, and we were all like, you know how those singles events goes. It's always like
I don't know. I'm not single. I don't.
well, neither am I. But if you've
Your
ever
wife at
been,
home is like, that's what you better say.
I just told him in the bathroom. I went into the house last night with no shirt on purpose so I could make her think I went out like that. And she was like, "Where the fuck is your shirt?" I was like, "No, I was out in the streets like this." She was like, "No, you weren't. Where is your shirt?" She ain't playing. Like,
shout out to her.
Yeah, right.
Keeping you in check.
Yeah, she is not playing. So, well, how did you and your wife meet, if I may ask? And who pursued who?
So, long story short, I was looking for an apartment, and I ran across this one apartment in Dallas, and I was like, man, I need to find a new bachelor pad because I'm trying to turn up every day
This is not what I thought he was going to say.
for the entire summer because the summer was about to start.
Yeah, I got
so,
you.
I'm getting ready to turn up every day.
Did you know this was what was
turn
in
up
the,
every day.
Did you know this is the beginning of the story?
I had no idea that was his
Oh,
plan.
continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was definitely the plan. So, basically, I pulled up to the apartment trying to make sure I was gonna get approved.
Yeah.
And after that stress was off my shoulders.
Right.
She was at the apartment, man. I seen her one day, and
A meet
But
cute?
who
The
was
rest was history.
I? I was the leasing agent. I wasn't just I wasn't just like
He make
walking
you sound
around
like you were
a random.
homeless just out there.
I know. I was just
She was just outside.
yeah, she was just
Change,
she was like standing next to the apartment. So I said, "Hey, you, come here. Let me talk to you for a second."
Need some change?
so I was the leasing agent, and I actually. So let me tell you the back end of that. So he's doing all this, getting his bachelor pad, like in his mind, a bachelor pad.
You're going to hear about this
And,
later, by the way. I just want you to know that.
You gotta nail the story down, buddy.
So I'm there. I'm the leasing manager at the time. No, I'm just a regular leasing agent at the time. And we normally work off commission. So whoever, not who talks to the person on the phone, but whoever actually physically tours the prospect or whatever across the property and actually gets them to lease, that person is who gets the commission.
Right.
So he called. And I talked to him. Then he called again another day, and he spoke to another colleague of mine, and we were all talking about, "Ooh, have y'all talked about with that guy named Kendrick? He's called multiple times, and he got like that deep, sexy voice." I was like, who gonna get him? Whenever he we were fighting.
So you really could have turned up.
Yeah, he really could have.
I'm
Like,
not going to get you in trouble, but you really could have turned up.
I don't know.
so then he comes in, and I wasn't the one to help him. It was my my colleague Duranda. So Duranda's like doing her tour with him. I'm finishing a tour with somebody else. So I have my back turned towards him.
We don't even see each other at the time. She
Yeah.
don't see me till like the very end.
Yeah, I had no idea he was even there. So I'm like, my back is turned. I'm getting some paperwork to give to like the prospect that I was with. So I'm doing that, and I hear him say something to Duranda, like, "Oh, okay, yeah, whatever." Like he's about to leave, and I like whip my head back, and I was like, "Are you Kendrick?" And he was like, yeah, I gotta go. And then he literally just like darts and leaves like a freaking ghost. I'm like, what the hell is going on with this guy?
I had to go to work.
But I was like, damn, he kind of fine. I was like, oh, okay. So I told Joanna, I was like, do you think he's gonna lease? And she was like, I think he's gonna lease. And I was like, all right, because she was a really good closer. So I was like, all right, cool. He's gonna lease. I don't think about it for like another few days. Then we see the application come in, and we're like, oh man, he applied. So he's coming in. So finally everything works out, whatever. It's his move-in date. And this is the part to me that feels like a movie, like a rom-com movie. So so he comes in to move in finally. It's like the 13th of April is like your actual like whatever date and move-in date. And I'm walking him to his unit. As I'm walking, like whenever you're in an apartment complex, there's like a hallway and everyone has like mats and stuff,
Right.
welcome mats. Well, there was one that was like a crochet one. And for work, I was always wearing heels. So I'm walking and my heel gets stuck on one of the crochet things and I literally trip.
No.
He catches me. I look up and I was like,
Not a real meet cute. Oh my
yes.
gosh.
And in that moment, I was like,
This needs to be a movie.
I was like, I must have him.
He is mine.
But he's very secretive and very mysterious, and I couldn't find him on social media. I couldn't find him on anything. I was like, what the heck? All I had was his name. I was like, I don't know nothing else, and he doesn't go by his name on anything.
So that answered my question: who pursued who?
Exactly.
I didn't want to say that.
I just want you to know she purposely tripped and fell.
No, I did not. That was Jenny. That was God.
She wanted to see if you had him. You know?
Good catch, because if you let her fall, oh my gosh,
I
I
would
could
have
have
upset.
literally
And
marriage
mortified.
If you did, though, it's still conversation. That's real. Though.
Yeah.
We may not be sitting here, but
Literally,
we're
marriage canceled in that moment. So good catch.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a beautiful story. That is a beautiful story. So, starting with your journey, particularly, I remember around the time that I met you, you started doing the videos on Facebook, and we were like, yo, why should we be posting our workouts? I was like, I don't know, but it's cool. Like,
Right.
But at that time, nobody was doing all this. Post
No.
everything that we do, follow me, a day in the life type thing.
Yeah.
So how did it transform into what it is now? Because I remember when it started.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, it started back in 2011, and really, it was way before Instagram. I've been on Zanga. I mean, I was coding my little fingers off.
Yeah, you
MySpace.
That's so long.
Yeah, that tells
forgot
my
about
age.
Zanga. No, I forgot about Zanga. I haven't heard that in so long.
Yeah. Oh man, that was like my favorite social media app at the time. Like, I loved it. So anyway, I started when Instagram really started popping off, and it was just, little pictures here and there. They didn't have a lot of functions. So I was just posting. We really even couldn't even post videos as much. It was more pictures. I remember I had, like, back then it was like a lot of grids and stuff. So I would have like 10 little pictures on one picture of me doing like different workout movements and stuff. And all the pictures were oversaturated. Like, it was like all the filters that we would slap on there directly from Instagram. So I was just posting that, and eventually, like, my page just kind of started growing. Then I decided to do a fitness competition, bodybuilding competition.
I remember that.
And that's what really took me over the edge, where more and more people started following my journey. At that time, I had no idea that I had PCOS. I just, like, kind of had suspicions, but I didn't know. So I was still kind of just chugging along doing my thing. Then from then to now, it's evolved into a lifestyle brand more than people just follow my life rather than just my fitness journey. I don't post as much fitness related content because I got to the point where when you are multi-passionate, it's hard to get put in a box. So I was like, oh my gosh, like, I only can post fitness content. And when I would post other stuff, it wouldn't get no love. So I was like, nah, I got to switch. So it took a while to kind of train my audience and to get new people to follow, to want to follow just my life and not like necessarily like my workouts, because at the end of the day, I'm not a workout professional, fitness professional of any kind. I just have been in the game for a while, but that's how it kind of evolved to what it is now.
And for you, was that a part of your life as well back then, or did it come around when you met her?
What, social media?
Social media, posting, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, social media has been a part of my life for pretty much since the inception of social media. Tells my age.
But in the same capacity, or were you just kind of using it like?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
I wasn't using it to be like an influencer, so to speak. I was just on it, doing all the things that you probably shouldn't be doing on social media. I'm just looking.
Did you know this too? You know?
Oh yeah,
Okay. I was like, I don't want to make you learn all these new things today that you didn't know before you got here.
No.
Okay.
No, I welcome these questions.
Okay, good. So how have you found social media to be impactful for your lives, and how have you found it to be impactful for other people's lives? There's a question I have for you.
So impactful can be...
Either one of you could take it too, by the way.
Yeah, I'll say one part, and maybe you'll chime in on the next one. So I think impactful could be a good thing or a bad thing, because we're just talking about impact.
Right.
We're not necessarily talking is it a good thing or a bad thing, but depending on how you use it, you have to be really, really careful, because everything that you consume becomes who you are. So if you're consuming, content that makes you feel bad about yourself, like I literally stopped following accounts that made me question my worth, made me question like if I looked good, if I felt good, and things that made me compare myself to, like, I was like, I got to unfollow these people. I got to follow more pages that are talking about positive things that are going to like actually pour into me and us and everything else. So you have to be just really, really careful. But I think that social media can be really impactful, because in the same way that it could be bad, it could be very good. So if you show, doing good things, I think even sharing like my PCOS journey, like that was something that I didn't realize was going to be such a huge thing. And it's been a very positive journey just from sharing that online to the people, at least that tell me that it is. So hopefully that's yeah.
Can I ask you a question? So then how do you know what to share? Because I feel like we live in a world that's like overly saturated with everybody's business, like almost in the place of like oversharing. And I think that does a detriment to both the viewer and the person actually speaking. So what's your line? Like, especially as a couple too, because I know that you're now venturing into, I don't know if I'm like telling that, but you're venturing into a couples podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you shared that already, but anyway.
Yeah.
So like, how do you know what to share and what not to share?
Well,
Well, personally, I think like when it comes to navigating social media, it's all about being organic, right? Being organic, being relatable. So in my opinion, I think that people should share things that are kind of like relevant to them specifically. So for example, it's kind of like the quote, be the change that you want to see. So if you like see that there's a need, I feel like, you know, you can use social media as like a pathway to be that particular change or to advocate for, you know, just something that you believe in, so on and so forth, because it's always an audience. It's always an audience of people that want, like, need what you have to offer.
Yeah.
but being more like, I guess, strategic about what you post, because whatever you post, people are going to feel entitled to have an opinion on. So you have to be really, really careful on everything that you post. A lot of the times people think that I may feel like I post a lot of my life, but there's so much that people don't know, that people
realize
don't see.
It's just snippets.
Yeah.
That's 30 seconds to a minute and a half.
Absolutely.
There's 24 hours in a day and 7 days a week. You don't see it all.
Yeah.
Man, shoot. I mean, we have started, like, just from like our real estate stuff that we did for that year and a half that we were doing that project. Man, people didn't know what we were. I mean, we were getting drugged through the mud, and everyone's like, "Oh, goals! Oh my goodness!"
Until you see behind the curtain.
Meanwhile, we're getting gray hairs. Like, we're just like, it was crazy.
I really appreciated that about that point of your posting, because you guys shared the good and the bad. Y'all were like,
And not even all the bad.
y'all were like, we are struggling today.
You don't get the bad a lot. A lot of people just show the front facing. They don't show you
and
behind
I really
the scenes.
appreciate that about that content.
Girl, when I tell you we've been just trying to spare people, which is why we don't just like be just saying everything.
Yeah.
But my God, when I tell you, and that should tell you, like, you know, now we took a break from the real estate stuff. Another thing is because the market was being funny, and you know, we just wanted to make sure before we jumped into something new, because it isn't like our full bread and butter, but it is that thing that real estate is a great thing to invest in.
It's a good part of what you do.
But you want to make sure that it's the right thing, because if you move too hastily, like you may get stuck in a deal you don't want to be in. So we wanted to make sure that we vetted every single thing that we were going to do, because if not, we didn't want to put ourselves in the situation we were in.
So with all the things that you have going on, when do you stop to take a moment for each other and for yourselves? And what do you do in those moments to do self-care? Like, to keep yourself, you know, balanced, what do you do?
Shoot, on Thursdays, we just look at each other for about an hour and... Nah, I'm just joking.
I was like, wait, what is that?
Sociopathic shit is real. What is happening?
I was over here like, we do?
She was like, I don't think we're in the same universe.
So that's why you look at me so much on
I was
those.
like, on Thursdays you go play dominoes. I was confused.
Nah,
You know, I watch you while you sleep.
intentional date nights.
Yeah.
You gotta be, definitely gotta be intentional about the date nights. Gotta be intentional about, like, hey, from this time to this time, it's like no phones, like
I
no,
was just about to
no
ask that.
work.
Yeah.
I like that.
And what do you do for yourselves? Like, do you have anything that you specifically do for Thalia that has nothing to do with him, nothing to do with media, just nothing to do with anything but just you?
Yeah, I sing.
That's right, you do.
Yeah, whenever I'm by myself, like normally, like whenever he's out playing dominoes and doing his thing, and I have the whole house by myself, and it's just me and Judah and our dog.
What's up, Judah?
Yeah, like I normally just, you know, he has a keyboard in the corner of like one of our living rooms, so we just go in there, and I have a mic, we have speaker, the whole shebang, and I just turn on karaoke stuff, and I just start playing different songs that I like and singing songs that I like. It's very therapeutic to me. Like, I just love it. It's like self-care to me.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing in the world.
So what are your plans for all the things that you have? What do you want to scale next? You've been scaling your socials, you have real estate, you have all these things. What do you want to focus on next?
Yeah, so I think right now we have two main focal points, and I really would like to say three. So one is definitely my brand, the PCOS Baddie Club. The PCOS Baddie Club is a community of women who have PCOS. We have obviously on TikTok, my following is mostly those women, which is over 500,000 people. On Facebook, we just reached 200 club members or whatever on there, which is really great. We're growing.
Wow.
And
cool.
then
Good for you.
the Instagram page is about to hit 10,000. So
There you
we're,
go.
I'm like, okay, now we really want to scale that brand. We want to get all the merch out, make it feel exclusive, like a club. Like there's never been any kind of brand or spaces that create a space for us. A lot of the times, smaller brands, whether it be catering to any kind of demographic that's normally left behind or not thought of, like sometimes we can't even like pull up a chair to the table. We got to create the room. So like,
As you see.
yeah, exactly. Like you got to create the room. Like
Yeah.
you don't even have, you can't even pull up a chair because you're not included in a lot of these things because it's very taboo. Like the facial hair, the weight gain, all this stuff is just not deemed socially like the
Accepted.
beauty standards or whatever. So I wanted to create a space where every girl, especially with PCOS, can feel like a baddie, no matter if you have the facial hair or whatever else. So we're creating some awesome merch for that. Our podcast, Telling on Myself podcast, this is all him. The podcast, that's his idea.
If you have any questions, I got you. I've gone through all this shit. I got you.
Yes.
So what's Telling on Myself?
Yeah,
Tell us more about
yeah.
that.
Telling on Myself is really like a therapeutic platform, pretty much to do just that. Tell on myself. It's a combination of telling personal life experiences, thought processes. The goal, of course, is to highlight the negative impact and how we've been able to evolve and grow from that. Like some of the therapy, whether it was like, therapy sessions or just whatever, just different things to grow from that pretty much.
So tell us this, since we're new in the podcast game. Okay, so
here we
like
go.
we don't know. We don't know what we're doing. Like our first episode, we use these little like mics or whatever. And we're like, nah, this sound is trash. So we ended up getting some new mics. The sound is so much better. We have 2 episodes out already. We're on YouTube podcasts and on Spotify. So we're trying to figure out how the heck do y'all get on all these because like you have like wherever you listen to
Yeah,
podcasts.
right.
I'm like, how do you do that? Also, like whenever you guys started, like how did you decide one? I'm gonna ask you a few questions.
Go ahead.
How did you decide one that you wanted to start a podcast? What was like the meaning behind wanting to start the podcast? And then how was the journey, like the first few episodes or whatever?
Let's see, I'll work backwards. The first few episodes were trash. And they were a nightmare. And I was in a studio that I didn't particularly care for. I mean, thank you for the opportunity. But the space was hard to find because looking in Dallas, there's not a lot of podcast studios. And if there are, you got to pay a lot.
Right.
And so I was like, where can I find something that's just like inexpensive so I can see if I even want to do this before I go pay an astronomical amount of money. And then I find out, oh, I hate this, right? So
Right.
I found a hip hop studio. I wouldn't advise it. So, yeah, I wouldn't advise it. It was a lot of things going on that I probably just didn't want to be around. And so
Right.
it was like sound quality was okay, but we didn't have cameras like this. We didn't have lighting. I didn't have Becky. I didn't have Trevor. I didn't have Bree. I didn't have any brand partners, none of that. It was just me and this mic and this laptop. And at first we were trying to use Fruity Loops, which was horrible.
What?
And trying to marry, it's a program, trying to marry it to Logic Pro, which is not a good idea. And so figuring out the sound and like the apps and the applications, the software you need to make this thing go. Luckily, my engineer works for Sony, and so he does films and stuff. So we got to figure that out pretty quickly. He helped me. That was like a nice little fast forward because if not, it would have been 2 years of me trying to figure out sound.
Wow.
So it was just figuring out like the nuanced things, and then I wanted to get it out. So you asked about how I got it out.
Yeah.
I looked for different applications that would do that. They have things that do all your socials at once, right? So I was like, well, there's
Right.
got to be something that does the same thing for like music or podcast or whatever you're putting out. So I found Spreaker, which is it's headed up by iHeart, right? So basically we go through iHeart. So they distribute to Amazon and Google and Spotify and Apple and Deezer and
All the DSPs.
GeoSavant, like every single one you can think of is there. Like almost all the ones you need to be on are there.
Wow.
Instead of me going to each individual platform and trying to get, to one, like some of them only offer you maybe 2 other platforms. That one offered the most bang for the buck.
I
And it
gotcha.
also offered the most analytics. It offered like a geographical map of where you're being heard. So I can see that we're in 40 countries now, right? Before,
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
know where the hell we were at. I was like, oh, I don't even know if anybody's
Come
listening.
on, 40 countries? Yes.
But like we're in every continent except Antarctica. If we can get there, I hope we can get there too. But we're in every major continent.
You're
that
cool.
you-
There's like 3 people there.
We're too hot. We're too hot for Antarctica.
I follow this lady. Like, she lives in Antarctica. She's like, yeah, I'm one of like 4 people that live here. I was like,
Well, we need to get all 4 of those listens. We ain't got nothing else to
And
do.
the whole country of Antarctica
We got
listens.
the whole continent.
I know, right? The entire.
Live show Antarctica 2020. No, that and the journey. It's been good. But
How
it's
did
been
you come
tough.
up with the name? Like, perfect. Like, what
So-
was like your basis of coming up
first
with
of all, it's not a Christian-based word. It predates Christianity. It goes back into Greek. So it's a Greek word. It goes way, way back, and it doesn't have anything to do with religion.
Mm-hmm.
It's just using your words as power, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially what it comes down to. My mother used to tell me that growing up, your words have power.
Yeah.
And always be intentional with how you use your words because they can bring things to life. It's
Yeah.
no different than scripting. When you write in your journal, you write down, I want to do this thing. Or if you
Right.
believe in 369 methods, manifestations essentially, right? That doesn't necessarily have to do with religion. There is some context there, but that's not why we chose it. I chose it
gotcha.
because it was a lesson from my mother that I carried with me all my life.
Yeah.
I've always been very intentional with my words. And so that's what this show is about.
I gotcha.
It's about creating a space where we can be intentional with our words. We can have a little fun too.
Yeah.
We can talk about all the necessary, similar to what you were talking about. We can talk about all the things we've gone through. We can talk about real estate. We can talk about building things, investing. We can talk about BBLs. We can talk about all the things. Everything.
BBLs, what y'all been talking about?
We got
We
to
did kill that
BBLs.
topic though.
That
We
was
fucked
good.
that one up. All
That
right.
was
So, but no, I wanted to create a space where we could all come and talk. Like you said, create a table because we don't have a lot of black and brown podcasters that have notoriety.
Right.
Especially in the city of Dallas, the podcast community is like minuscule. Like,
Oh, wow.
There's some of us out here, but it's not as much as you might think. If you look east and west, you'll find a bunch of them.
It just feels like everybody has a podcast these days.
It does.
But they're not here. Like everyone
gotcha.
does, but it's not in Dallas. If you get to these major cities and major markets, yeah, you'll find them obviously. But Dallas the podcast community is not as big as you might think.
Wow.
And so I wanted to, when I look at the Joe Buddens of the world or the Charlemagne's or any of these big podcasts that come to mind,
Yeah.
when you go to their town, you got to stop by that city. iHeart, you got to stop by the Breakfast Club. You got to stop by all these places.
Yeah.
I was like, I want that.
Yeah.
When people come here, where do they stop? Okay.
Right.
They don't stop by anything. They just kind of pass right through. So I wanted to make a one-stop shop for that too. So it was very intentional. So
Yeah, and I think Dallas is actually growing in creatives.
Finally, yes.
It's finally like I was shocked. Just a few weeks ago, we were invited to the BET Award brunch
Yeah, I saw
situation.
that.
They
Yeah.
only chose like 4 or 5 cities to do this across the whole United States
Wow.
in preparation for the BET Awards on that Sunday or whenever it was. And I was like, wow, like Dallas, they chose Dallas. And one of our reps on the from the other side, they were like, oh yeah, like Dallas is starting to boom. Like they're thinking that Dallas is going to be the next like creative hub. That's why everyone is moving here. That's why companies are coming here. And that's why more and more creative studios and creative spaces are opening up in Dallas. Now, of course, we're still a little bit behind than like, you know, New York's and
course,
LA's and
yeah.
Atlanta's of the world. But I think it's about to be. So it's good that we're starting now. This is like
Yeah.
grassroots right now.
I was like, I think I launched in October 2021 when Kennedy was born. When our daughter was born, I decided, okay, let me go and launch this thing. I started writing this business plan in 2019. I started listening to podcasts in 2014.
Oh, wow.
But I was afraid of it. I didn't want to do so. I've always been in something performative, whether it be band or DJ in a choir or plays. Like I've always been in performing arts, right?
Same.
But if you've been in those types of things, then you know you take it pretty seriously. I have a high respect for it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to just go press record, right?
Yeah.
Because then I could just be like anyone else, and it would just fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
I did a lot of research on mics and software and business plans and how to scale and where to market and how to market and when to market. What time should you post? What should you say? Like,
Yeah.
I did a lot of research on it. And so that way, when we got into it, it would have a chance to sustain itself. And I know it's going to take 5-7 years to really get it to, you know, like you said, you've been in this since 2011.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen overnight.
And I didn't start getting paid until about year 11.
Wow.
Thank you. I got like a $20 check from iHeart. I was like, whoo, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, ain't enough for gas, but cool. Like I made some money. Like it's awesome.
Yeah,
but
it's all about trajectory because like from 2011 to 2019, I hadn't gotten paid a single dollar from doing social media ever. Everything was just for exposure, or if I had any opportunities, it was like never really like monetary. Then 2020 was when I got like $2,000 from like this one campaign that I did, this little agency that found me. And then that year, coincidentally, I also blew up on TikTok that year.
Right.
Then fast forward to 2021, I was making, I probably made that year maybe like $5,000 or something. It was,
that's a win.
It was
very,
it was like not a lot of stuff. But then from 2022 to, oh wait, is it 2023 right now?
Yeah.
Welcome
to 2023.
My bad. So at the end of 2021, I had made the $2,000, not the other way. So $2,000, 2020, yeah, 5,000 like at the end of 2021. And then the beginning of 2022, whole world changed. Like everything was different. Like my management had got me so many deals. Like the money was coming in. I was able to totally replace like my last salary at the last place that I had worked. Like within,
just gives me hope.
Yeah, within a few months. And then this year, I made what I made all last year before Q2 even ended.
That's fire.
So I was like, whoa!
Why am I doing that? We got
just
these.
from content.
we got those.
That's what we needed. Oh, not the gunshot. We didn't need the gunshot. We didn't. Because she's killing them.
So it's all about trajectory. So 1 year it could be 0, 0, 0, 0, and then a little bit, and then bam, and then it all changes.
Can I ask you something about that? So then how do you stay consistent? Because I feel like we live in a microwave culture and there's so many avenues to do something. Like it is so easy to start a podcast. It is so easy to write a book. It's so easy to do these things.
Wait. Is it so easy to start a podcast?
It's easy to start a podcast.
Bullet hole in the
Well,
front.
okay.
It wasn't that easy.
It's easy
It
to
was niggas
start.
with guns standing outside, and I was like, "This is not what I need to do a podcast about positive things." Like, hell no.
It's easy to take the first step. Now, is it successful?
Okay.
I don't know. That's what I'm like. But so, how do you maintain your motivation? How do you stay focused? And then I feel like this environment, it shifts so much. I'm very new to the creative landscape. And so I'm like, how the heck do you even stay like afloat in this world?
Yeah, so I think that one, you have to genuinely really like it. Like I genuinely love social media and pop culture together. So if you're constantly paying attention to what's going on in pop culture and on the social media landscape in general, and you have that desire to be there, it makes it all the easier. But I know sometimes it's like a necessary evil. It's like, I'm not really a big social media person, but like I know that like if I do it and I stay consistent, my podcast will pop off, or my business or my book or whatever it is. With it constantly changing, you just have to like, within boundaries, kind of just be on it and be a part of the culture, so you're able to easily acquiesce to any of the new trends, any of the new lingo, anytime a new meme drops, anytime like there's always something relatable. And if you're transferring that to like your business or your podcast, like, you know, a lot of businesses right now, like the whole Barbie, the movie is out right now.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. Like throughout the years, Mattel with Barbie has had so many contracts with so many different partnerships and collaborations. So now they went back and they, you know, nurtured all of those contacts, and now it's everywhere. So if you're a business or you're a podcast or you're anything, do something that's kind of related to what's going on. That's what's going to keep you relevant. It is kind of like you're always kind of chasing the next thing with whatever is trending. But as long as you don't lose yourself and you keep that same sense of like individuality and uniqueness about you. I always say, what's his name? Virgil
Abloh.
He said, you know, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. He had the 3% rule. You take something that already works and you add your 3%. So whatever is already working out in the world, take that, spin it into whatever your thing is, and that'll keep you relevant. So it's just trying to find those things and doing that all of the time.
Never stopping.
To stay afloat.
To piggyback on what she just said, to take the 3% or add your 3%. A lot of people of color specifically do brand partnerships, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times we've seen Hennessy, Cavassier, like we've seen specific liquors. I like craft beer. And
That's why we're surrounded by
none
it.
of us really like know much about it. Like most of my black friends are like, you drink what? I'm not drinking that nasty shit. Like
You're like a beer snob.
I've had probably almost 700 beers from around the world. I am into it. I'm serious. Like I have a really,
You should do a beer
really
segment.
they're coming back. They'll be back. She's coming back soon. But so that's why, like, I walked into this place one day and I was like, oh, I love this. I want to do a partnership with them. I don't even know how that looks on paper.
Yeah.
And I sent them an email, and then here we are. So we'll do our first live show this fall. But to me, it was like, I got to add that one thing to podcasting, and that one that kind of makes it still mine, but it still kind of diversifies it too. So you have to kind of like hold true to form, but like she said, add your own spin on it, you know? So,
Yeah, absolutely. I think whenever you're in black and brown spaces, a lot of the times, you know, everything like you said, has to be the Hennessy. It has to be the culture.
It's the traditional stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I get that, but you know, when you are coming from backgrounds like, you know I'm a theater and choir kid too. I know you're a choir kid.
Oh, you can sing?
I'm a little choir kid.
You're a choir kid. Okay, so we
Go ahead and drop one real quick.
I don't sing like that.
He actually
If you ripped out, oh hell yeah.
No, he actually does. He's just very shy. He's
I'm not gonna do you like
he's
that.
an incredible singer, and he plays the keys too. But anyway, I'm not gonna brag on him because he's gonna be like, "Don't put me on the spot."
My man's a musician too, so I feel you, girl.
We were talking about making jingles for our own stuff. I was like, you know, for our skits and things. Yes.
Good start.
But I think we need to bring these things into our spaces. Yeah. Like, even if it makes us like the weird ones or like they're kind of like quirky or whatever. Like, who cares? Like, I feel like I love musicals and stuff, and like Disney. I'm very much a Disney adult. Not the Disney adult that goes to like Disney World, but like the Disney adult that loves Disney movies. Like Tangled is, I don't know, it may get dethroned by the new Little Mermaid, I'm not gonna lie. But I still think that Tangled is my favorite.
It's Moana in our house all day. Lord.
Oh, Moana
gives.
It's a pretty good one for me too.
Our daughter knows every word.
Yes.
That's crazy. She's not even 2 yet. She knows every word. It's so
I
crazy.
mean, The Rock as a demigod is perfect.
Okay.
Like, there's nothing better.
Yes.
It's Moana, Coco, and Encanto in our house. Those three reign supreme.
I cried at every single one of those.
Every single day.
That's
I'm gonna have to
mix.
run the Tangled back though.
Man.
It's not sitting for me, but maybe I haven't seen
Tangled.
We might have to run
I don't
that
know.
back too.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to run that back.
It's the horse and the chameleon for me. I'm sorry. Like, those are the ones.
What's she talking about?
Bro, I'm sitting there thinking that same thing.
Moana,
the Tang, I don't know nothing about nothing.
chameleon.
He don't be know, but he's very blackety black. Like, talking about like,
Black,
like he
blackety
loves,
black.
like he'll watch like what Life.
Friday.
We can watch The Wood or something.
The Wood is good. The Wood is a
Stacey?
classic.
Stacy's my favorite character.
Stacey, Big Mike.
Yeah.
He plays a movie Life, and then
Life is good too.
Life is good.
Yeah.
All them nights, you know, I take it back.
Oh, you know about that.
I mean, when she said you were playing dominoes, I was
When
like,
they're outside, they're like, man, why
he's
you keep-
black.
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
That look like a gun. Yeah.
Don't let his light skinnedness fool you.
What the domino? What about the domino?
When I heard her say he's playing dominoes, I was like, oh, he is an old black man. Like,
We play for money.
Okay, I need to get
Wow.
back.
Oh, and he actually only hangs out with people that are like 50 and older. I don't know. He's weird.
Yeah, I don't know
That's
what it is.
smart.
Yeah.
That's where you get your wisdom from.
Not for real. I really do
Yeah.
try to glean that wisdom for
Yeah,
real.
I used to hang out with my grandpa and drink whiskey and just talk about shit all the time. Straight
Yeah.
up. You know, just,
The garage on Sundays. That's all they do.
you need to bring him on the pod.
Yeah, let me practice.
man.
And then I might
Bring an
have to
old
come
head
join
on the
y'all.
pod.
If you bring
Yeah.
Uncle C,
Man, y'all heard of Charleston White?
No.
Yeah,
Do you know
well,
him? You know him?
who?
Charleston White.
we know of him.
You do? Oh,
But-
please,
but-
tell him to come up here.
But Uncle C though, man,
Oh, man.
Uncle C, he the next best thing for sure.
Oh, y'all got to bring him up here.
Yeah, he's a character.
he wild.
So what other questions do y'all have for us? I'm curious.
Yeah. So
Fire
okay.
off.
Okay,
You
so
too. You can ask whatever you want to ask. It's fun. This is fun.
So,
no one ever asks us anything, by the way. So this is fun.
so we're talking about multi-passion or whatever, and we're on y'all's podcast. What do y'all do outside of podcasting that's not your job, unless your job is like a part of like your identity? I don't believe in people making their jobs their identity.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I do this. No, that's your job. What do you do that outside of like, you know, your 9 to 5 or whatever, if you have one? And if you aren't doing the thing, what would be a thing that you'd want to do outside of
What I've been
podcasting?
trying to do is build a hiking group for people of color.
There's one, and there's a couple in Dallas, actually.
No, I want my own.
Oh, I feel you.
Like that's cool
That's
too,
fair.
but I have a different spin on it. Like I go out with guys on Sunday mornings sometimes to go out to Cedar Ridge Nature Preserve. I'm not gonna tell you when I'm there, you weirdos, but
All right.
some random arbitrary day I go out there. So, but what I want from that is when we go out, we talk all things real estate investing. We talk stocks. We talk life. We talk love. We talk whatever. And these are all men too.
Yeah.
And so we'll go out on this trail, and it's probably about a 2-hour outing, right?
Yeah.
But when we get to a point of like where we stop, we actually sit and just talk about important things, right? And so that for me is something that people don't really know that I like to do. I love that. I wanted to create a mobile think tank essentially.
Oh.
And so like we're moving. Like remember I told you guys I want to do active meetings. That's what
That's what you meant.
That's where I got that from. Yeah. It's something I've been doing, but like I can't get people in Dallas to go do shit. They're lazy as hell. Like,
It's on the hottest day.
what else? We're gonna hike
And
at
I was
night.
like,
Like,
I know about 4 black people that
Y'all want to get down? We can get
About
down.
four.
Okay,
About
cool.
four.
About four.
Shit, get my number. We can go. It's something I've been wanting to do because I think it's healthy. I think it's something we need. I think it's something that especially men don't do enough. We don't get out and just talk. We have this like machismo or this thing that this facade that we live within, but no, let's just go out, get sweaty,
That's
talk
true.
about important things. And typically I come back with good information I didn't know every single time. I come back with either a new innovative idea I can imply or apply to my life, or they learn something from me, or I just feel whole again.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one thing I like to do. The other thing I like to do is hang out with my daughter a lot. That's my
Kennedy,
buddy,
right?
man.
What's her name?
Kennedy.
Yeah,
Kennedy Grace, man.
Kennedy.
That's my buddy, man. So I'm with her all day.
How's fatherhood been?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't know about the rest of you loser ass fathers, but I love the shit.
How old are your kids?
I only have one, and she's turning 2 on Kobe Day next month.
Turn 2?
Yeah, August 24th on Kobe Day. So yeah, like I love it, man. Like, so to give you a little bit of backstory, the one thing I did love about your dad the most is that he was such a good father.
Yeah,
I
he
saw
was.
that from the moment I met him. I was like, I know what a good father looks like because I also know what not having one looks like, right? So I had inconsistencies in my father and in my father and stepfather growing up.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
I took that to heart and I said, when I become one, I'm going to be the best damn dad I could possibly be because I know what it's like to have an inconsistent father. They're not there, they're not there, want to be there, not want to be there. You know, like, this shit is not cool. So
Our latest episode that we just had was called Father Figures. And if you like, what we're mainly talking about on there was basically from his vantage point, because he's had a father.
it's like the American Black
issue.
Dad story. Like,
yeah.
it's not uncommon, which is kind of sad. It's really not uncommon. I know a lot of people. I don't know if didn't you have a stepdad too, Trevor? I know Trevor's in the background. I can't see him. Did you have a stepdad too? Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we're all we've been through that. A lot of us have, and a lot of us don't talk about it enough. So for me personally, I take fatherhood super serious. I don't play about that shit at all. So,
Yeah, the Black experience.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's like you really go down one of two extremes. Either you'll do just like you did, you'll take it very seriously, you'll try to be the best dad ever, or you'll just repeat the pattern.
And that's what I didn't want to do.
Yeah.
Because I know,
break the cycle.
after my strip club runs from growing up and seeing all the lovely ladies, fatherless ladies, I was like, I don't want her to be that.
All right.
Like, I look at my daughter, I was like, I cannot have her like stripping for nobody. I can't have her doing anything weird. I want her to be wholesome. I want her to have a good career. I want her to be level-headed, confident, strong, not have insecurities. Like, I was like, if I can do that just by being there and like instilling things in her, I'm going to do every bit of it.
What do you say to the strippers that's like, well, I'm not insecure. That's body shaming.
I would say you might want to sit with a therapist and work that out because I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I just don't I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just think that there is something there.
I feel you.
There has to be something there. You ladies don't strip. You had a great dad. Wait, do you?
I do have a great dad, but I
I was like, you strip? You didn't tell me something. Wait a minute now,
I
dude.
do have a great dad, and I also don't strip. But you know what?
This is my personal opinion.
I feel,
You know.
yeah. I mean, I feel mixed about that because I think, yeah, there are people in the strip clubs. This is such a fun topic. Here we go.
I'm so sorry. This was not
There
intentional.
are some people in the strip clubs who do have issues and all these things, but I do think that there are some people who've reclaimed their power. They use their
I can
body
see
for
that.
their, you know, they've flipped a narrative, or maybe they're just like, hey, I need to make some money and this is what I need to do. I don't think it's all necessarily degrading, but I do see.
I just
and
feel like if I
perspective there.
do my job, she won't have to go that route.
But I think that's.
Am I wrong?
Nah,
you get what I'm saying? From
yeah,
man to man,
I
like,
feel
I feel like as a man, if I do what I'm supposed to do, it lessens the opportunity for her to have to go out and
I
do
think
that.
that's a very unrealistic expectation
How?
you're putting on yourself because you can't protect her from life. Like life just happens. I had a great family, great upbringing, and I was doing some things.
That's
I
true.
can protect her from this though. Like, I
You never know. Life happens. I think you can give her the tools, you can give her the resources, but at the end of the day, I think where parents, I'm not a parent, but where some parents mess up is they think that they can control like their child, like a
Now that
Sims
I
character.
agree. I don't want to control, but I do want to be there and be a strong figure in her life.
Yeah.
So she doesn't feel that she has to go out and do those things. I want her to see life in a different. I don't want her to see that side of life. If I can get her away from her, I'm going to. I know that sounds crazy, y'all, but
No, you're
just
trying to
wanna
be a
the
good
best
dad.
dad.
No, I mean,
Is that crazy?
No,
Like,
no,
it's not crazy, but I think that, like what she was saying, I think that you could do all the right things because I feel like I had two pretty good parents. Of
You did.
course, we weren't like it wasn't always perfect. There was things that would happen in the home, really more between my parents more than like
Right.
them as parents, cool. Me and my mom, okay, I got a little mommy issues, but yeah, like it's always like two women like butting heads. I don't know,
especially powerful, strong-headed women.
Exactly. She's a Capricorn. I'm a Scorpio. Ooh. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. But either way, like I feel like overall, I had pretty good parents. They instilled a lot of good things in me. If I would say the one thing that has helped me not go in other directions, even though I've thought about it, was that
Did you know this?
No,
I didn't.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just playing.
Well, I'm not saying straight, but maybe no, just kidding.
Maybe little feet pics on the OnlyFans.
I know. A little OF action with the feet.
Feet only.
Right.
There you go.
You always gotta find a way. Like, how can I finesse this?
Exactly.
Like, I have too many tattoos. Like, I don't know.
Don't recognize my foot. Yeah.
I know. I'm always like, oh man, my earring just come out. Anyway.
We in here. That means we're cooking.
But I think that the one thing that my parents instilled in me that has helped me the most was that they always told me that I could do anything. And just that very, very small phrase, you could do anything. You're so talented. You're like, I mean, they put me up like no other.
Yeah.
And honestly, there was now in my life now, because of life and things that happen and stuff, you know, I feel like I have built like a shell around myself. Like I feel like a shell of myself. I'm not as like exciting or as like free and open as I used to be. And I feel like I lost that a little bit and I want to get it back. Mm-hmm. But, growing up, I felt like I could do anything. And that's why I want to be a singer. I want to be an actress. Right. I want to create this company. And like, I truly do believe that I can and I will do it. Like there's never an ounce of me that like, of course, sometimes throughout the journey you have doubts and when things don't go your way, you're like, oh man, whatever. But like for the most part overall, like I feel like I can do anything. And I also felt from a very young age that I would do big and great things because that was instilled in me a lot. But whenever you don't pour into your child their confidence, or you pick at the things that they're showing. Oh, that's another thing. If they're showing you interest in certain things, don't be like, oh, you don't want to do that. Like you want to do this, because then they're going to start not trusting their own decisions. Right. They're going to grow up to be someone that's insecure and not confident in themselves. And then that may lead them to make a decision like, oh, well, I'm going to go do this because this is easy. Like all I got to do is just, whatever, just move a little bit, whatever. Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? So like, I feel like that's very important. Now you're never going to be able to protect your child forever, like from everything. No. But if you just work on those things, instilling that, I think she'll be okay.
I think she will too. Do you guys plan on having any children?
Of course. Yeah. We want to.
We're going to see that journey for sure.
Yeah. With PCOS, we just never know what that looks like.
Was it your cousin that had a baby? Are you related to that guy? What's his name?
Jalen and Sadaida?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's my cousin.
Yeah, he had a baby recently, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I love watching that baby journey.
Yeah, isn't it crazy?
They make me laugh so hard with his when he got the stroller with the cooler or some shit he was talking about.
Oh yeah, no, they are. Shout out to Jalen and Sadaida. Yeah. I was just with her. We were playing pickleball the other day.
Bring them up here. They would be fun to talk to. They seem like they are so cool. I love them. They are so funny to me. Yeah. I just want to ask them parents stuff because we probably can relate.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah. I will definitely get y'all connected.
Little girl, little boy.
Little girl.
Okay, so he's a girl dad too.
Yes, he's a girl dad. So I think I would.
Hey, hi y'all.
Yeah, and he's just as country as Kendrick. They sound very similar.
Me and my girl laugh at them all the time. They're hilarious. If you don't know who they are, you should know. They are hilarious.
They're good people. You know the crazy story about that? Like, so he comes from a very big family, like Louisiana, Southeast Texas.
Right? Yeah, pay attention.
Thibodeau LeBlanc's, and they, they're Creoles, like from Southeast Texas, Louisiana border, and he had told me a few years ago, hey, I have like a cousin. I haven't really met him too much, but like, he's dating a girl and she's Dominican. And I was like, really? Oh, that's cool. I didn't think anything of it. Whatever. Mm-hmm. Now they're doing their thing, doing social media. They're blowing up on TikTok. They're doing all the things. And then we go to, we finally like connect again because they ended up getting married, all this stuff. And I was like, oh wow, like I forgot, like that's right. She's Dominican. And me and her ended up becoming mutuals on TikTok. And I noticed she had a little Dominican flag and I was like, oh, I do too. So I'm looking and I was like, oh wait, I put it all together.
Wow.
Fast forward, last September, they had a family reunion of like 300 from whatever people. And we did that video that went viral that is like, when you think you're the only Dominican at the family reunion and then you find another girl that's Dominican.
That's cool.
So we became really cool after that. And then they moved to Dallas.
They weren't living here.
They weren't. They were in LA. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they recently moved to Dallas. So it's been great.
Life is
y'all are welcome anytime.
Serendipitous.
Come on down. Anytime you want.
So it's cool to have other people in the family that are also into content creation because it could be a lonely world. So.
Well, before we wrap this up, is there anything you want to say to your audience, our audience, before we get out of here? Either one of you, take it. You're fine.
I want you to take it.
You want me to take it?
Oh, he's about to sing.
Say something to the audience.
You don't like when I put
Give
him
him
on
a
the spot.
positive word and we can roll out of it.
Give him a positive word. Can y'all see me?
Not that. Okay.
Oh, we gotta sit up right. Yeah, we in here.
Let me think. A positive word. Let me
Yeah.
think. What can I give
With the
him?
smiley face hat on.
With the
I
smiley
feel like
face.
it's already preloaded.
Exactly.
Let me think. A positive word.
Why you put him on the
Put me
spot?
on the
This
spot
is usually
like
what I
that.
do, but I
Yeah,
like to see somebody
man.
else do it too.
I talk too much though.
I know I can't. Now my brain done went blank. And the crazy part, when you asked me that, for some reason I had this loop that keep playing in my mind. I was watching this video with Shaq, and somebody was like, "Man, Shaq tell kids the same thing all the time: be good, stay in school." You know, just like, the same thing all the time.
Go ahead, you can
Hey,
use it.
y'all be good. Y'all stay in school.
Good enough. Good enough. Good enough. Well, before we head out of here, shout out to our brand partner, Celestial Always. If you go by there and see them, they will give you a 15% discount off on us. So just tell them that we sent you.
Yes.
Plug all of your socials so that if they don't have them, they will have them. You're right there in the camera. You can plug them all.
Oh, yes. So make sure to follow me at Thalia M. LeBlanc on Instagram, Thalia LeBlanc on TikTok, PCOS Baddie Club on Instagram, and do not forget to follow our podcast on YouTube Podcast, Telling on Myself, and on Spotify.
Yes.
Hey, don't forget to follow that at K.409. I'm Talia's husband. Y'all don't forget me.
Oh, yeah, it is us. Well, as always, we thank you for listening to this podcast. We appreciate you guys for coming in. One more time. Just yeah.
This is what it sounded like in the old studio. A lot of pop, pop, pop.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. They tried to tell me that was a heel in the wind. I was like, that is not a heel. That bullet hole's too
That's
straight.
live action
Yeah.
sound.
He played a voice note.
No, we appreciate y'all for listening always. We hope that you grow. We hope that you learn. We hope that you evolve. And we hope that you come back and kick it with us all over again. Bring your cousin in. Tell him come on up here. Anyone wants to come on,
Absolutely.
that's fine. Hey, Trevor, where you at?
We prophetic.
Hey, there we go. We out of here. That's it.